What is going on, y'all? I be Hip Gregory. Today I'm talking about this debt ceiling deal made by Joe Biden. If you want to call it a deal, because the deal gave the Republicans everything they asked for, and Democrats got nothing out of this deal. So they essentially cut food stamps and TANF program. They cut spending to everything except the military. They're going to tell you that they cap spending. There will be no increase in spending, but in, for the next 2 years. But with inflation, there's basically a cut to stuff. But at the same time, they raise the spending for the military about 85 billion dollars, I think. Yeah, $85 billion. It went to 800 to $885 billion. Increase in military spending while cutting funding to stuff like the food stamps and essentially and the TANF program, stuff that will help regular people, which is what the Republicans was asking for. And they have this pay go program where if you cut spending from one or you increase spending in one place, you're gonna have to cut it from somewhere else, which that essentially is gonna you know how you say tie the hands of this administration. They're not gonna do anything else for the rest of this term. That's gonna be the excuse. Well, we can't because of pay go. That's something the Republicans asked for and they got. While also they cut there is there was Joe Biden had a plan to give $80 billion to the IRS so that they could go after people who make over $400,000, because the fact of the matter is that the people who cheat on their taxes the most is the rich. Approximately $1 trillion of money is cheated from the by the wealthy every single year. So if you really want to decrease the deficit, you seem like that would be the places you would go after, not TANF and food stamps. You would go after the rich who cheat on their taxes every year and the military spending. The military spending, like I said, they increased it by $85 billion, but they can't even pass an audit. They haven't passed an audit in 5 years. The Pentagon in this year, 2023, there is $20 billion that they can't account for. They don't know how they spend it. I mean, I get upset if I can't figure out how I spent $10. $20 billion they can't account for. And this is where you're throwing money. If you really wanted to decrease the deficit, and this is this is really about, you would go after the military spending and you would tax the rich. You would increase the tax, but you would go after the money that they cheat you out of every single year. They cut it from 80 billion to 60 billion. Now, supposedly that every dollar will increase will get them six, because other presidents, the last one, they have defunded the IRS, so they can't go after the rich. So every dollar will give you six. So that's a lot of money that they just gave to. They cut $20 billion. That's like 120 billion uh, lost. That's going to increase the deficit, not decrease it. And um, the only thing a Democrat got, which is a conservative Democrat, which is basically helping the Republicans as well, is personally, Joe Manchin himself, who who's in this deal, is getting the Mountain Valley pipeline. And what does that have to do with the deficit? But he snuck this in this deal. It's like 5 bills in a row that he put this in, and they kept getting declined. Um, and he can't get this pipeline passed through the regular measures, through the courts and through the judges. So he deemed them exempt, and with this putting them in this deal, that he don't have to go through no judge. They don't have to pass no climate type, because they have agencies. You have to comply to some type of the climate. think to get this stuff passed, and it couldn't do it. So he bypassed this by getting this in this bill, and it's supposed to increase the methane gases and the carbon gases, and it's going right through people's homes. And this is he giving this to Joe Manchin. Joe Manchin is the same person who killed the Build Back Better program. You remember that Build Back Better program, which is what Joe Biden ran on, and which was a lot of stuff that would have helped regular people, stuff that the progressive people was asking. Progressives never get nothing in these deals, but all of that stuff was gone. Like the child tax credit, universal child care, maternity leave, increases of wages. What happened? $15 an hour minimum wage. Joe Biden said he was going to do that. He hasn't done it. They were supposed to add I'm not mental, dental, vision, and hearing to Medicare. None of that stuff. None of the stuff that would help regular people that he promised to help the progressive side of the. They got nothing. But yet the Republicans are getting everything and the deal that makes no sense because to increase the budget, the debt ceiling, that helps everybody. Nobody wants it. Why are the Republicans getting everything they want and the Democrats get nothing? You know, that's for everybody. Nobody wants the debt to ceiling. Nobody wants the collapse of the economy, of the United States economy, and potentially the world. Like who? They're just bluffing. Yet you're giving them all they want and now you're setting precedent for this to happen again and again. They're just gonna do it again. And when after the midterms was lost, Bernie Sanders said we need to raise the debt ceiling. We need to raise it now because the Republicans they're gonna come in and they're gonna hold us for hostage and make all these crazy, you know, demands and stuff. And Joe Biden was like, nah, they wouldn't do that. These guys, they're good guys. They wouldn't do nothing like that. Now look, and I don't know why Joe Biden already knows. Everybody knows, but Joe Biden knows full well that they would do this because they did it in 2011 when Obama was in office. Obama Obama actually agreed to cut Social Security, and Medicare, which is like the holy grail. Like you can't people might riot if you cut those things, but he actually agreed to it. But the Republicans got greedy and said that wasn't enough and started asking for even more to the point where the whole deal fell apart, which is kind of what I'm hoping that will happen here. And even though it doesn't look like it passed in the House of Representatives, now it's going to the Senate. There's no need to. They're gonna pass it anyway. He could have invoked the 14th Amendment, which is say that the United States has to pay their debt. It's basically this debt ceiling thing is basically unconstitutional. So there's no sense to even have this argument or debate or fight. He could invoke the 14th Amendment and let it go to the Supreme Court. Now the Supreme Court is, mostly conservatives, but they are beholden to their corporate donors. Almost all the politicians are. It's you see the stuff with Clarence Thomas, who has been bought off by billionaire Harlan Crow. That stuff came out in the news. There is no way that they're gonna. It's in the Constitution, one. So why would they vote against it? But number two, they're not gonna tank the economy. Harlan Crow, Elon Musk, and these billionaires, they don't want to tax the economy. Of course, it just this stuff makes zero sense, and it just goes further on of how Joe Biden is. I mean, this guy has broken every promise, everything that he's supposed to do. He's lied and broken every promise. Another thing he agreed to is to begin the payment of the student loans back with inflation, right? So now people are gonna have to start paying their loans back from the COVID that was put on pause because of COVID. Well, the another part to that is that the $20,000 um, you know relief for the student loans that was supposed to happen that Joe Biden. passed, which was one of the good things. One of the things I said, okay, that's pretty good. It's something. Well, that's going to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court is very likely to to reverse that, and Joe Biden knows it. So the students are getting nothing. Another lie. Um, when Biden took office, he passed us a debt relief to black farmers. I think it was 5 billion, maybe more. That was going straight to black farmers, and I was like, okay, Joe Biden helping some strictly for black people. Well, not $1 of that was paid out, and in fact, the tax reduction bill that passed, the BS watered down version of what was supposed to be Build Back Better, that was canceled basically by Joe Manchin to get Joe Manchin to sign off on a watered down version where we got nothing of what we asked for or nothing what was promised in the Build Back Better except for the decreasing of insulin prices. Basically, they took out the farmer black farmer tax relief. Screwed again. That's all this. That's what this term has been. It's been screwed, and now he's gonna do nothing else. The next 2 years is just he's just gonna campaign. He's just gonna campaign for the next presidency, which I don't know what he's gonna. What could he possibly say? Why should you vote for me? Because we heard you. We seen that campaign that you're not Trump anymore. That you're not Trump. We've seen that before. I mean, and and in some ways you are like Trump. A lot of ways you are like Trump. You know, you the corporate tax rate is the same. The tax cut to the rich is the same. You the way you handle the border is the same. The Title 42, where there's zero tolerance of immigrants coming across the border, that was a Trump policy that you said was bad when you was running for president, and then you kept on going and you extended. You sending troops to the border now that the Title 42 is about to end. That's something that Trump did that you said they shouldn't do, and now you're doing exactly the same thing. And for why? It's like you're trying to appease the Republicans, and the Republicans don't care what you do. They don't like it. They criticize. They say that is theater what you're doing. Yet they praise Trump. You do the same measures that Trump did at the border, but yet they claim that you got open borders and you just letting everybody in, which is absolutely false. So why are you trying to appease those people? Do you know that Joe Biden is at a 35% approval rating, which is terrible for an incumbent president? Um, that this guy, even 50% of Democrats don't want him to run again. Yet there's not really no major competition, people challenging for the president. There's Robert F. Kennedy and Mary Ann Williamson, who the media is ignoring. The DNC said they're not having any debates. They will not put Joe Biden in the room with these other candidates, putting their foot on the scale just to make sure Joe Biden runs. And it looks like he's going to lose. You know, he won the electric, how you call it, the he won the vote by 43. He won by over 7 million, but 7 million votes. But if 43,000 votes in three swing states would have went the other way, Trump would be president today. How you call it, the college, electoral college? 43,000, and Trump would be president today. At this rate, I don't see no way Joe Biden wins. And with all of that, the media is lying, saying what a great compromise, what a great deal that Joe Biden did, what a great job. And then the next day or a couple of days later, he trips and falls, and now people are saying, well, maybe we should have a backup plan. Maybe we should get somebody else. Maybe this guy can't do it. I'm telling you, I am so sick of this media Joe Biden era. That's all. I can't. Later. Peace.